Hey everybody, this is Perch. One of the questions I got asked was, what about relationships in comics? What about when superheroes date each other? Is this a good idea? Does naturally in real life people hook up, people do things. If there's a superhero community and they're hanging out at the Avengers Mansion, maybe they're going into the underground sauna there and getting naked in the hot tub. By the way, I've used that a couple times, and somebody finally kind of mailed me like, "Why are you talking about this Avengers hot tub? Like, what is that?" It was an actual recent comic. This isn't just in my crazy head. There's a recent comic on the Jason Aaron run where the Avengers are currently living in the kind of the carcass of a celestial in a mountain, and that's weird enough. But somewhere in this carcass is a hot tub. It's like a natural hot springs kind of underground pool. And in one of the recent issues, Captain America and Iron Man are hanging out in the pool, and they're enjoying a soak. I think Captain America says something like, "I don't know, I'm Captain America." Or I don't remember, something dumb. And slowly but surely, more people get into the hot tub. Into it's not a hot tub technically; it's just hot springs. More people get in there, very much like a Japanese bath. And Thor is in there, and then Captain Marvel's in there, and then Robbie Reese, Ghost Rider's in there, and I think I don't know. I think there's some more, and then eventually She Hulk like shows up, and she is doing her I'm a strong, angry but confident beast woman, and she just strips off completely naked and just kind of jumps in the pool. And Captain Marvel's like trying to cover Robbie's eyes, and it's this was a real scene in a comic book, folks. That's now I've gotten completely derailed. Anyway, relationships. Do relationships work in comics? Well, I mean, the short answer is sure. If it's a good writer and there's a good hook, then relationships work fine. You can do whatever you want. There's a lot of relationships. Reed and Sue, that's a relationship. Eventually, they got married, and they've been married for a long time. And other than some weird kind of turns here and there, like you know Sue believing that her husband was fundamentally evil for being on the wrong side of Civil War and deciding to leave him in the middle of the night with her children. I mean, that's a little bit of a okay, yeah, no, that was some weird writing there. But there's plenty of good relationships that have come about. I think many people are more or less happy with the Batman Catwoman relationship. I think that other than kind of an incessant Bat Cat banter, people that wasn't the part of Tom King run that people disliked. I think that was most people thought that was good. I think in fact it was kind of an indicator that people were upset that the wedding didn't happen and that they didn't actually get married as being kind of a core important thing that happened there. So, people were into it. Certainly the anger over Mary Jane and Peter and kind of how that all went down. So yeah, I mean, I think definitely it can work. I think fans like it to work. I think there is some level of shipping that goes on where people kind of want to see their favorite characters kind of hook up and be together. And there's some fantasy fulfillment certainly that goes on there. But like anything, I think if it's written poorly and it's very clumsy and they do it terribly, then yeah, it's a terrible idea. And I think they've done it terribly plenty of times. One of the characters that just it dawns on me, we talk about Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel as wow, she's very this progressive character. I don't need a man. There's this. Clip that gets this panel that gets shared around where she's like, you could just throw out the man and keep the phone, and it's like Carol's drawn super weird and all the rest. But Carol has been through a lot of members of the Marvel universe. Like there's, if you go back to original series, I mean, first of all, she is dating a lot of people. And then eventually she gives birth to her new boyfriend. That was Avengers 200, which was quite a curious decision there. Obviously, she dated Rhodey. She kind of. I don't know. They were kind of setting up. She was dating Peter, sort of, kind of, for a while. Spider-Man. She's at least sleeping with, if not dating, Doctor Strange now. She's she's had quite a number of relationships. Actually, I was trying to think who's dated more people. Tony Stark for sure. Definitely Tony Stark. But like, I mean, even there, like they've kind of inferred a Tony Stark Carol relationship back in the day. They've had there's been a lot. I think Carol is probably the character they've done the most with in terms of having a relationship in the comics. It's odd. It's surprising how much they've done with Carol. Um, so I think that hasn't necessarily helped her whole kind of the dynamic of she's an independent woman and all the rest. I mean, Kelly Sue DeConnick took her into space. I guess that was one way to kind of separate her and make her own identity and so on. But I think that if you are going to have a relationship in comics, you're going to have somebody date somebody else. You need to do it with some kind of long-term thinking in mind. So to the original question, do they work? I think they work a lot worse today when you've got writers who are not on a title for more than a year. I think to make a relationship really work in the comics, you need to have it go for a while, for years. You need to build up to it. You've got, Elsa Bloodstone and Deadpool dating over in Deadpool with Kelly Thompson. You had Deadpool at one point. God, who was he? Who was he into? Was it Rogue? I don't remember who he was. There's somebody. I mean, we've had Deadpool kind of with a number of different potential love interests. Nothing that's really taken off. Siren, he was after for a while and at one point, but in a lot of cases, like those relationships were spun out for a long time. The new one with Elsa, when there's a new writer on Deadpool, are they going to reference any of that? Is that just going to kind of be gone? I don't think relationships in comics work when you're doing them 3 to 6 issues max at a time. I think all that does is it's used as a cheap gimmick, like, oh my God, I can't believe who's kissing who on the last page of this comic. Oh, who could tell these amazing things that are going on in the comic today? You yourself can see this relationship that you never thought would be possible. I slipped into that a little bit too easily. That kind of stuff always feels like a cheap marketing gimmick. It doesn't feel like a good comic that you actually want to read. And when the next writer comes in, they quickly discard that because it doesn't have any kind of long-term connection or tie into the character's history. It's just this additional piece of baggage that doesn't make any sense. Much like when Peter Parker was dating Mockingbird for 2 months or whatever that a very short period of time. That stuff doesn't work. For many readers, I remember somebody mentioning this at the time. They had Spider-Man Peter dating Mockingbird, but the relationship was over really quickly, and then they were kind of ex. It was kind of an ex type relationship, and for several readers, they missed the actual relationship, and some of it was done in that time skip business that Marvel did after Secret Wars. And they're like, wait, he's on her couch now? They're not a couple. They're a couple. What happened? When did I miss? Huh? That kind of reaction isn't the best reaction that you want for comics. So I think if you're going to have a relationship, I think it can be additive. It can be great for the character. Fans tend to really get behind it. They like, as much as a lot of guys would never want to admit it, they like that kind of romance relationship type stuff. But you have to have a long run. You have to build to it. You actually have to, set it up and commit, like a relationship. You have to commit. And if you don't, then you get kind of the Carol Danvers situation where, she did have the long-term relationship with Rhodey, and that was good. But by and large, her relationship past is quite full. She's been around. Is the I shouldn't say it that way because that's just gonna people are gonna be. But I've thought at one point I should do a video like all the people Captain Marvel's dated. My favorite was in her original run. She dated a guy named Sam Adams, and then later they wrote her as an alcoholic. It was it's quite a thing that they did there. It's amazing. Anyway, what do you think? Relationships in comics. Do you want them? Do you think they should avoid them? What are you looking for when you think about a relationship? Wouldn't it be nice if just the characters actually did get married every now and then and stayed married? Like, the the rate of divorce and marriages breaking up in the Marvel universe is dramatically higher than in real life. That is not the world outside your window. That's a world outside some very, very sad, broken people's window, but not everyone. I mean, you know, they can you can actually have a few. I'm amazed that they've kept Reed and Sue together. Are you? I'm just. I mean, you got to figure that has been pitched to Marvel like a dozen times, and they've been really close. Like, yeah, let's break them up. No, maybe I don't know. Fans would be well. I guarantee you that's somewhere Joe Quesada is like, before I leave Marvel, I'm splitting up that marriage, guaranteed. I don't know. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.